Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here, joined by Austin Brubaker. Austin, hey man, haven't talked to you in a while. It's been kind of some ups and downs. It feels like the Dodgers are turning the corner. Your overall thoughts on the Dodgers as of late?
Yeah, Casey, first off, it's great to be able to see you, to be able to interact with you when we're able to do these shows during the season. Yeah, the Dodgers, a little bit of ups and downs in them. Obviously, this past weekend, they played against the San Diego Padres, which was a absolutely massive series for the Dodgers. Ended up taking one of those games, which grand scheme of things, if you're talking about the San Diego series, both the San Diego series being back-to-back, taking 4 out of 6 of those games, not the worst results that can ultimately happen. And now that they've taken the first 2 games against Cincinnati, I think now that they've reestablished themselves and started to win a couple of games in a row, and you're starting to see the offense start to put up some good performances back to back, you're seeing the pitching staff, a starting pitching staff at least, that is healthy and going out there and being effective. Just seemingly every single time that they're going out there, it's a good place to be able to be for the Dodgers. Obviously, this season and the results as far as where postseason seeding is going to be set is not set yet. The Dodgers still have a lot of work to do to be able to go out there and win the National League West. But right now, they are in a pretty good position. They have the tiebreaker against the San Diego Padres. They also have an offense that seems to be turning around the corner. Some of the players seem to be going out there and getting back to some of their hitting ways. And the pitching, especially the starting pitching staff, I have a lot of confidence in a lot of these pitchers to go out there and perform. And the Dodgers are remembering just how talented they truly are. And ultimately, the Dodgers are going to be as competitive, if not more competitive, than just about any team that they're going to face in any sort of postseason environment.
Yeah, did you see your boy GLP hit the walk-off last night for Tulsa?
I did see that. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't get a chance to be able to watch the game. GLP, Griffin Lockwood Powell, for the Tulsa Drillers hit that walk-off, which Tulsa's right now in a bit of a chase to go out there and make the playoffs for themselves. So definitely rooting for them. More paying attention to what's been going on with Great Lakes and the return of Lyle Lockhart starting the game.
Yeah, that was
rehab
cool.
Start. I wasn't very happy that West Michigan threw 3 rehab guys in a playoff implication type of game. But Lyle Lockhart, obviously great to be able to see him. That's obviously on the minor league side, very much a playoff push, especially for Tulsa and Great Lakes right now. But on the LA side, they very much are looking to try to best position themselves in a good environment. Obviously, there was some good news in addition to yesterday. Philadelphia lost, which means they're only, I believe, a half game back of the number 2 seed, which
very
is absolutely
important.
Massive, avoiding that second wild card position. San Diego did win yesterday, but the Dodgers are still a game up of the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers just have to go out there and
Game and a half, really.
Yeah, a game and a half, really, because of the tiebreaker. The Dodgers just have to go out there and continue to play winning baseball with the schedule that's in front of them, which got 1 more with Cincinnati, a day off. They've got 3 against Arizona, and then I believe 3 in Pittsburgh. That's going to be a series that they have coming up. So they've got some teams that they can go ahead and win. What the Dodgers have to avoid is what we've seen in the past, where they seem to let their guard down a little bit when they're going up against teams that might not be in the same competitive window that the Dodgers are. Obviously, Cincinnati's fighting for a playoff spot, but Arizona isn't really fighting for a playoff spot, and Pittsburgh isn't fighting for a playoff spot. Dodgers got to take advantage of the schedule that they have going in front of them and just keep going out there and playing good baseball.
Totally agree with that. Andy Pages, your boy. I mean, Andy Pages is like maybe your favorite player that you've gotten to follow since he's come through the system. He was incredible in 2021 with the Great Lakes Loons, helped them do great things. So he's dear to your heart. He had the 2 home runs a couple of nights ago. He had 2 more hits last night. Then he makes the stupid base running error. So it's like, give me your assessment of Andy Pages at this point.
Okay, yes. So when we're talking about this offense as a whole, and especially because over the past month or so, there's been a lot of struggles for the offense. There's a lot of different reasonings as to why that is. One of the main components, though, that I would argue as far as one of the reasons why the Dodgers offense has struggled as much as it had is because they really haven't been getting a ton of production basically out of any of their outfielders. Michael Conforto obviously has been struggling quite a bit. Teoscar Hernandez, if you look at his overall season numbers, is about a league average type of hitter, which you got to hope that he's able to turn that around because he is a massive component as part of this offense. And then Andy Pages, there's been a longer stretch where it's been okay offensively, a little bit below league average offensively for Andy Pages. So anything to be able to go ahead and get him back on the roll to especially what he was during the early portions of this career in May and June type of time period when Andy Pages was one of the better hitters in this lineup. Having him be able to stretch out this lineup is absolutely massive. And it just seems like Andy Pages is able to step up against high velo pitchers for whatever.
Yes.
We saw earlier this year against Paul Skeens, Andy Pages went out there and was absolutely on a roll against him. And then against Hunter Green yesterday, he was able to, on off-speed pitches, take advantage of Hunter Green. Getting Andy Pages from an offensive perspective, or at least one of Andy Pages and Teoscar Hernandez, if not both, is going to make this lineup lengthen so much more and just going to help with so many things as part of this offense. So offensive-wise, Andy Pages, getting him on a roll, much needed for this offense to be able to go out there and be consistent. Base running-wise, that was a stupid mistake. He knows that it was a stupid mistake being able to do that. It seems to happen way too often. Those have to clean up in order for him to be able to go out there and go forward. But he's still a very much a valuable contributor as part of this Dodgers offense. One of, I believe, by WAR, if you were looked at Fangraphs WAR, a top 3 offensive player, it's Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith, and Andy Pages by Fangraphs WAR that they've been able to produce this season. Obviously, that's cumulative throughout the season. That takes into account his defense, which has been really solid, and honestly has provided a lot with his ability to be able to play in center field and make drastic improvements in center field as the season's been able to go along. So he very much is a key component to this offense. Obviously, you want the base running mistakes to be able to clean up. But I think one of the bigger storylines, and this is because this is absolutely crucial for the length of this offense, is to have one of the outfielders to be able to step up and especially hit for power, right-handed power in this lineup. Very much is needed. Andy Pages, if he can continue just to get back on the roll, which he I believe had a double at least during the game yesterday as well.
Hits.
A couple hits for him. If he can get back to being on a roll, that's going to really help lengthen this lineup.
You talk about Andy Pages lengthening lineup. Another guy that can lengthen lineup. We saw him get 2 hits last night. It is that time of year where Kiké turns into Kiké.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right with that. This is one of the reasons why you have Kiké Hernandez. There's 2 main reasons why you have Kiké Hernandez as part of your lineup. Really 3 main reasons. One, you can talk about the clubhouse that he's able to produce, which obviously is a massive clubhouse guy, huge with the fans, with what he's able to do. He's versatile defensively, which provides massive value when there is some type of injury. So when Max Muncy is out for a little bit, Kiké Hernandez can step up and play third base. When you're not getting a lot of production from left field, which I think initially was the plan for Kiké Hernandez, he could step up and play just about any outfield position, especially left field or center field. Obviously, we saw him during the postseason. But really, it's the third reason. This is the biggest reason for Kiké Hernandez to be back on this team. It's because he has a unique ability to be able to step up in big moments. And obviously, I think this team is starting to feel it a little bit. They might have felt it after dropping the first 2 games against San Diego. You saw a different response for them when they were able to come out. Obviously, Dalton Rushing had the big hit on Sunday, but they're starting to get in that mindset of we got to be focused because we have to do what we can to best position ourselves for a postseason type of run. And having Kiké Hernandez back, which it looked doubtful according to some people at times as far as whether he was actually going to be able to be back this season, is absolutely massive because he can fill in a lot of different holes. And at the very least, you have the long track record of success during the postseason, which means that if some people are not being able to be at the level of which they can be, Kiké Hernandez can be a good, viable option for the Dodgers to potentially turn to during a postseason type setting. So what you want to do is you want to see over the course of the next couple of weeks just how well he is actually hitting, and getting off to a good start during his first game back, getting a couple of hits is absolutely massive for Kiké Hernandez. This is going to be one of the big things to be able to watch, is not only the production for Kiké Hernandez, but how does this compare to some of the other players on the roster? How does this compare to guys like a Tommy Edman when he comes back? How does this compare with down the stretch production for guys like a Michael Conforto? What is Kiké Hernandez production looking like, and what is his ultimate role going to be? Because Kiké, if he is healthy, given his track record and given his level of success and versatility to be able to go anywhere, he has a very good chance of going out there and making a lot of noise for in the postseason for the Dodgers. But it starts with getting him back on track, getting a lot of those reps in, because it can take a little bit of reps to be able to get used to things. But really good to see Kiké back out there getting a couple of base hits last night.
100%. And I'll tell you who else is good to see pitch as well as he has. Clayton Kershaw. It's amazing what he's been able to do. First inning last night, it kind of felt like one of those, okay, he's been great, way better than I think most of us even predicted that he would be. But this seems like one of those nights to where, yeah, he's been great to this point, but it's just one of those nights. But like the great ones do, he figured out how to minimize the first inning and then really settled in, I believe, retired 12 hitters in a row. So Clayton Kershaw, again, he only went 5, which one thing that has really helped this Dodgers bullpen and team overall is that the starters have gone longer than 5 innings. They've gone 6 and 7 innings. We saw Sheehan go 7 innings the night before. But Clayton Kershaw was just simply fantastic again last night for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Clayton Kershaw was absolutely phenomenal last night for the Dodgers, and and even Clayton Kershaw mentioned after the game, it didn't sound like he had his stuff really at all last night. But he has.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, he has the professionalism and the art of pitching, as what it is described, to be able to go out there and find different ways to be able to mix and match and be able to find ways to get professional hitters out. And Clayton Kershaw continues to defy the aging trend, especially with pitchers this year, currently on the season, I believe at 3.06 ERA out there, incredibly effective for him. Last night was able to strike out a decent amount of hitters as well and continue to put up productive innings for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Obviously, just 5 innings. They have a little bit of flexibility with their schedule coming up, with an off day on Thursday and an off day on Monday coming up this week, so they can provide a little bit of rest for Clayton Kershaw, with him starting on, I believe, normal rest. So Clayton Kershaw can go out there and just go out there, start on normal rest, and be just fine with what he's able to do. He's been incredibly valuable. I honestly didn't know what to expect with Clayton Kershaw going into this season. As far as the number of innings, last year I believe he pitched just 30 or so innings. This year he's been able to provide and he's continuing to go out there. He's going to provide 100+ innings for the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2025. And it's good, effective outings. Almost a 2-something ERA with 3.06 with his ERA right now. Absolutely phenomenal for Clayton Kershaw. He's a professional. He is historic in the pitcher for Los Angeles Dodgers. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's going out there and fighting to make an impact for this club down the stretch. And he certainly is helping the Los Angeles Dodgers win a lot of baseball games. Right now, you feel comfortable with Clayton Kershaw on the mound.
Of course. And I'll tell you another guy that you're starting to get comfortable with. I know he got fortunate last night. He gave up the couple of hits, but then he got fortunate that the bunt got popped up. It looked really good throwing to the shortstop. That is Edgardo Henriquez. And Edgardo Henriquez, Dave said it perfectly. You really don't ever gain true confidence in this game unless you actually have success. You can fake it. You can try to fake it, but nothing gives you confidence other than actually having success. Now, one thing the Dodgers really need, of course, Tanner Scott's back, and he's kind of shown that. They need, I think, another, especially right-handed arm that can just flamethrow and just overpower hitters and get a lot of swing and miss. Edgardo Henriquez definitely could be that guy if he continues to have success and gain confidence down the stretch. He could be big.
Yeah, he very well could be big. Edgardo Henriquez is, obviously, you mentioned a flamethrower, and somebody that was able to generate a decent amount of strikeouts coming up through the league, or going up through the minor leagues, particularly because his insane fastball velo, his really good swing and miss stuff. And what's funny about this is we've seen him have a lot of success, even without an insane amount of swing and miss added to the game. I think that's going to be something that's going to be added, but we've seen Edgardo Henriquez go out there and be an effective pitcher. And I think that is going to be steps that are going to really help elevate his game. I think this is a really good encouragement, something that can pop up when you present opportunities to some of the younger guys. Obviously, the Dodgers plan going post-trade deadline was to have a guy like Brock Stewart go out there and be effective, particularly against right-handed pitchers. Obviously, the injury threw things into a little bit of a sideways, but having somebody like an Edgardo Henriquez step up and seemingly be really effective, has not given up an earned run since he's been with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That just adds another arm that you can feel comfortable about out there in the bullpen. It's really great to be able to see him go out there and pitch effectively. And right now you feel comfortable with him. It's just about continuing to go out there, give him opportunities to continue to gain confidence. And I think as he continues to gain confidence, I think you're going to see some of the swing and miss stuff follow, because we've seen it follow as he's gone along with his journey, as the rapid ascension the last year to the major leagues, to pitching in the postseason for the Dodgers last year, to now going out there and trying to do the exact same thing today, or same thing this year, coming off of injury. I fully expect Edgardo Henriquez to continue to go out there and especially if you give him more opportunities, continue to go out there and prove just how good and talented that arm is. And I think that flamethrower is somebody that can go out there and get right-handed hitters out. It's going to be something that's going to be massively necessary for the Dodgers in the postseason. Edgardo Henriquez can help fill in that shoes if he can go out there and continue to be effective.
100%. And then also, hey, if you followed the Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network at all lately, one of the big things we've had is this pitching staff has been good enough, it's talented enough to throw enough zeros up on the board to give the offense time to get things sorted. I think that's exactly what we've seen, both in the bullpen and starting pitching. So that's the key there is, hey, if you can pitch well enough, like Yamamoto the other day, if you can just pitch well enough to give this offense time to get sorted, of which they did last night, that's a big key. And then really towards the end of the game, this was the first time in a while that it just felt like this team had a team-wide set of momentum. Will Smith got the big home run to the opposite field, and it felt like to me, maybe this is just me, this was the first time I'd felt like in a while this team was relentless on the offensive side of the ball. I just kind of got that feeling, at least for a little bit last night.
Yeah, at least for a little bit. And you got a lot of different contributors. Obviously, you mentioned Will Smith getting the home run. That was really good. Be able to see
opposite field, baby. Opposite field gap.
Opposite field gap. Home run, just to go out there and see some success for Will Smith. That is a good thing for him as he's taken a little bit of a step back as of late. To see Miguel Rojas go out there and get the pinch hit double straight to center field. Obviously, we mentioned Andy Page's got a couple. He
nailed that ball, man. Rojas hit that ball.
Oh, Rojas absolutely destroyed that baseball. And that put the game at a good distance out of reach from Cincinnati, which there's still probably a good chance, even if that doesn't happen, that
it's funny. That center fielder that guy had never played center field. You know who that reminded me of? It reminded me of Andy Pages earlier this year when he was trying to learn how to play center field. That ball right over your head is hard, man.
Oh, it's incredibly difficult. And especially when you're just watching it from just watching the game, you don't realize just how difficult a play like that is. When we're actually in that, it's so difficult, which certainly the Dodgers have gotten some help from some of the outfielders with Cincinnati not necessarily playing the greatest outfield defense, which shows you just how important outfield defense can actually be to making your team really good. But even with that, the Dodgers offense was able to capitalize.
Okay, man, this has been a lot of fun catching up with you again. Any final thoughts here before we hit it down the farm?
Yeah, so obviously with the Dodgers, they're building up some momentum right now. This is something that you want to see continue to go for it. Shohei Ohtani, I believe, is going to be on the mound tonight for the Dodgers. You want to go out there and see him have some success. The past couple of starts have been uniquely off because he's been able to still get some decent strikeout numbers as of late. Overall in the season, especially with his pitching, his strikeout minus walk percentage is really, really good. You just want to see him go out there and put up a good, solid start for him. I think that's going to build a lot of momentum, even though I have no doubt that Shohei Ohtani, based off of everything that he's done, can go out there and do basically anything on the baseball field. You want to see some of the results come tonight, build a little bit of momentum. Hopefully the Dodgers can go ahead and be the team that sweeps Cincinnati this season. Cincinnati has not been swept this season, so you want to see them go out there and have some success against Cincinnati. Shohei Ohtani on the mound. It's going to be a little bit of a tough matchup, hopefully against, I believe it's Nick Lodolo for Cincinnati. So that'll be interesting because he he is not somebody who walks a ton of hitters. So you want to see the Dodgers try to find ways to be able to get some hits, maybe hit for a little bit of power. There could be some opportunities with Nick Lodolo and some of his home run numbers to be able to hit for a little bit of power against him. So you want to see that happen for the Dodgers tonight and just get on a roll, just continue to go out there, find some success. Obviously, on the minor league side, you want to see a lot of success for Tulsa, who's fighting for a postseason spot, GLP with the big home run yesterday. And then for Great Lakes, they're going up against the best team in minor league baseball and the best team in the Midwest League in 30 years or so.
Yeah.
They have to win games to set up the series against Lake County next week. That's where I'll be tomorrow. I'll be in Midland Thursday and Friday. I'll be in Lake County Tuesday through question mark, depending on how many games actually happens out there. I won't be able to make it to Saturday or Sunday, so I'm hoping that the Loons win a lot, that the Lugnuts are able to win some games against Lake County, and hopefully the Loons can clinch before Friday. If not, we'll see exactly what happens for there. But massive series, Great Lakes, Tulsa fighting for postseason spots, and then obviously the Los Angeles Dodgers fighting for postseason positioning. You want to see them have a lot of success, take care of business, and win series against teams you should win series against.
The Quakes won the first half of the California League, so they're already in the playoffs. The Loons are trying to make it, the Drillers are trying to make it, and Oklahoma City's like 20 games over 500, something like that. So it's been a good year. Austin, thank you so much for joining. Always great to see you. So let's not waste more time. Let's get right to it. Let's take a trip down on the farm. Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. So glad you decided to stick around and check out all the action in the farm system from last night for the Dodgers. And we're going to start right at the top with Roki Sasaki. Roki Sasaki, his splitter looked good last night. His fastball, it bumped from his first rehab outing, about the second as his rehab outing. Spin wasn't overly impressive, but the velo has bumped a little bit, certainly from the beginning of when he started his rehab. But last night, 3 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 4 strikeouts. 2 walks. He threw 75 pitches, 47 strikes, and he left with the bases loaded. He had given up just 1 run at that point. That was in the first inning. And then Will Klein came in and hit a batter. Actually, I think Roki had given up 2 runs at that point. Will Klein came in and hit a hitter, and so he ended up giving up the 3 runs on the night. So just kind of looking at, there was lots of good there for Roki Sasaki last night. There were periods of his outing that made it look like he was probably ready. And then those periods were followed by other sequences to where he just kind of lost the strike zone and just didn't look ready at all. So all in all, not a terrible outing. I think there were some building blocks here for Roki Sasaki to work with, but it definitely leaves you the question, hey, not necessarily for the big picture, next year and beyond, but I do think it leaves a lot of questions as to whether or not, just timeline-wise, do you have the time to allow Roki Sasaki to work the kinks out? Now, keep in mind that AAA goes quite a bit longer than, like next week is the last week for Great Lakes and Rancho, and then AA has 1 extra week from that, and then AAA has 1 extra week from there. So you actually have like 4 weeks left of the AAA season. So probably Roki Sasaki will get 3 more starts if he needed at the AAA level. So I think there still is time to do enough evaluation to see if he can help, but it certainly would be a risk to say, okay, well, we're going to jump a guy straight from AAA to a playoff roster. So the timeline is the issue here with Roki Sasaki. We will see if there is enough time to get him ready to help the Dodgers down the stretch and in the playoffs. 4-seam last night for Roki, sat 96. Again, that's exactly where it sat last game. That is up from its first outing. 34 splitters he threw last night. 45% of his total pitches last night were splitters, and he landed 38 of those in zone, got 16 swings and 7 whiffs. So Roki Sasaki, that's the best I can do in terms of evaluating his rehab outing last night. Again, some good, some bad. I still think a lot of questions left to be answered in terms of his ability to help the team down the stretch. So, okay, we're going to move on now to the AA level, and who I wanted to show you here was a guy who had a really good start last night, and this is Chris Campos. Campos turned in a 5-inning start, 4 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, no walks. Campos has now posted 3 very good outings in a row. where he's thrown 13 innings combined in those 3 outings, giving up just 2 runs, and he has 11 strikeouts and just 2 walks. So, hey, he had a really rough May and July, no doubt about that. And his second outing in August was rough. But so there's been some ups and downs, but Campos, no doubt, no question, has made good strides this year. That's not coming from me. That's coming from Rick Honeycutt. So this has been a successful year for Campos. We'll see if they start him at the AAA level. This is his second year in Double A, at least parts of his second year in Double A. We'll see if he makes that jump to AAA Oklahoma City next year. But again, a good year, a good building block year for Chris Campos. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Another guy who's had a really good building block year too, left-hander Robinson Ortiz, who got moved up to AAA about a week or so ago and has really started to pitch very well. About 2 weeks ago, Robinson Ortiz got called up to AAA Oklahoma City last night. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no strikes, no strikeouts, and no walks. And 5th outing at the Double A level. So 2 weeks ago, he got called up, 5th outing last night, and he's gone scoreless in his last 2 outings, and in 3 out of his last 5 at Oklahoma City. He has that big sweeping slider, that one right there, a good fastball in the 96 range. And Robinson Ortiz has given up just 2 runs in his last 7 innings, given up just 1 run in his first outing, which would be expected. Then since his first outing where he gave up the 1 run, he's given up just 1 run in the 5 2/3 innings since. So Robinson Ortiz has really, really settled in and done a really nice job for basically all year for Double A Tulsa, and now is doing a good job for AAA Oklahoma City. Hopefully he can keep that up, and as I've said a couple of times now, I think he squarely is a candidate to get called up and make his major league debut sometime next year. So that's a super exciting outlook for him. And so now we're going to move back to the Double A level. We had a very exciting end to the way last night's game ended for Double A Tulsa. I have told you many different times that this group has really continued to fight and scratch and claw and do what it can to stay aboard. And last night, Griffin Lockwood Powell finished off the game. This is not it right here. I'm having a hard time finding it. There it is. I'm going to actually put it right here. Griffin Lockwood Powell had a walk. This isn't actually the walk-off from last night, but Griffin Lockwood Powell had a walk-off home run last night. Actually, here it is right here. Griffin Lockwood Powell, 3-2-1, gone right there. That is a walk-off victory for the Double A Tulsa Drillers, who have completely turned their season around. They were one of the worst teams in the minor leagues at the beginning of the season, the first half, and in the second half, they actually are in the lead by 3 games, I believe I heard Dennis Higgins say last night, to make the playoffs. So it would be absolutely incredible if this Drillers team made the playoffs this year, no doubt about it. But they are in position to do that, and they've played a lot of close games lately. They've lost. They've given up some leads. They've lost some close games. So it was good to see them come back and win one of those close games last night, especially with a walk-off from Griffin Lockwood Powell. We've talked about all the really, really good lefties in the system. Here's another one right here, Wyatt Crowell. Wyatt Crowell was the piggyback off of Chris Campos. He came in and threw 4. So Campos threw 5 innings, Crowell threw 4. Crowell 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Wyatt Crowell was promoted to Double A last week. Last night was his second outing with the Tulsa Drillers. He posted an ERA of just 0.96 in his 6 outings in July. That spanned 28 innings. So July was a fantastic month for Wyatt Crowell. Then he didn't give up a run in his first outing in August. So starting in July, he had a stretch where he gave up just 3 runs in 34 innings and had 34 strikeouts in that span. So tonight was a good bounce back. His last outing coming into this, his first outing in Double A was not great, no doubt about it, but that happens. It's, when you go from one level to the next, it's not always a linear process in terms of success. So good bounce back for Crowell after actually his last 2 outings had been kind of rough. But that was on the heels of total domination by him. So good to see him bounce back and get back to pitching the way that he had been for such a long period of time. So good job, Wyatt Crowell. Wanted to show you him at the Double A level. And another young man who is throwing the ball very well, or at least he did last night, is Brooks Auger, as we're going to get down to Brooks Auger in his outing last night. Brooks Auger right here, 5.1 innings for the start for Great Lakes, 3 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. Back-to-back excellent starts for Auger. Last time out, he went 4 scoreless, so he's given up just 1 run in his last 9 innings. So it's good to see Brooks Auger turning in good starts for the High A Great Lakes Loons. And then another guy who has just been absolutely fantastic for Great Lakes as we continue on our Down on the Farm segment here has been Kendall George. So let me get to his video here, and we'll get to some Kendall George, and we will check him out because he has been simply fantastic. Let's look at him right here. Kendall George last night had 2 infield hits, and he bunted for a base hit as well. And, the Loons have been on the road for the last 2 series. George had 19 hits on that road trip, and that spanned 11 games. Love watching this dude play. I love watching him incorporate his speed and finding ways to use his speed in games. Most people like to watch home runs, and I like to watch home runs too, but I've really come to enjoy watching the speed of Kendall George, no doubt about that. And moving now to the single A level, Charles Davalon, who the Dodgers just picked up this last draft. If you haven't checked it out, check out the interview that he did with Mark Watkins. Had 4 hits last night. 4 hits. He's from Canada. Those Canadians have flatter swings. They turn the barrel down to the ball. They're very hard ground ball, line drive oriented. I've been around a couple at Oklahoma State, and Davalon seems to be that same type of guy. See how flat that path is? Just hard line drives, ground balls, that type of thing. So really good to see just the bat-to-ball skills from him. 4 hits last night, 3 doubles. He's hitting .625 so far with the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. His OPS is 1.612, and he has hits in all 5 games he's played in. He has 4 multi-hit games in those 5, and has 3 games in a row in which he has 4 hits. So incredible start for Charles Davalon to his career in the Dodgers system, and another young man that has been playing very, very good baseball, especially offensively, and he's playing shortstop, so a very premier position, is one of the biggest prospects in the Dodgers organization is one Mr. Emil Morales. Emil Morales has been playing just simply fantastic baseball as of late and had a really good game last night. Here's his 3 hits last night for Rancho Cucamonga, and he skyrocketed his batting average all the way up to 356 as a Quake. His OPS, Emil Morales, is 1051 since he's been with Rancho. Morales has hits in 9 games in a row. He has back-to-back multi-hit games, and he has 6 multi-hit games in his last 9. And in that 9-game span, Morales is 18 for 37 with 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 11 RBIs, and 10 runs scored. That's a lot of data, but just know that Emil Morales has been simply on fire for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, and that has been a lot of fun to watch. So we're going to now come to our last young man that we're going to talk about in the system, and this is Landon Vitterick, young man the Dodgers just drafted out of the University of Cincinnati. He had a really good game last night for the Quakes, and he posted his second 2-hit game in a row and his 3rd overall multi-hit game. Landon Vitterick, the young outfielder, very talented, a treasure trove of tools, is 7 for his last 14, but 3 doubles, a triple, and 3 RBI. So that's going to conclude our Dodgers Daily Down the Farm. I want to thank you for tuning in and remind you that, as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.